outside
well,
our
we have a protester.
I know.
Abolish ICE is not extreme. All they do is chase down undocumented immigrants who overwhelmingly make this country better. We could shut the whole thing down. Tell us about your side.
There's a time I would say I didn't know you could read, but I'm trying to be the bigger person. I mean, yeah, I mean it literally. There was sort of a running joke when I was back in 2020 that I would try to put an entire argument on a sign instead of just a slogan. It was meant for if we were stopped at one place long enough for people to actually read it, that we could actually get in discussions with them. And I also think in this case it's literally true. Like there are very few situations where we can where I think it would be better to just do nothing. For example, I mean, I don't actually agree with protesters who think we should have no police. I think we should work on improving the way the policing works. I don't think we should have no police. But I think as far as chasing down undocumented immigrants, we could literally do nothing and we would be better off. I mean, fundamentally, if I want to rent a room to somebody and you want to hire him or her to do something for you, I mean, it really just shouldn't be anybody else's business. And I think the irony is that Republicans don't realize, they don't realize how these are overwhelmingly the kinds of people that they say that they love. These are people who love America, or at the very least, they love the idea of being in America, which a lot of people here do not. I mean, these are insanely hard workers, across miles of desert or jump through whatever hoops they had to do to get here. I mean, they love the country probably more than many people who actually live here, and the way that Trump and other Republicans treat them is just horrible. And the reason I'm protesting Kamala is because even though the Democrats are a lot further along as far as treating them with respect, I think they've got a lot further to go too. They still agree with the general principle that if somebody that we should try and stop undocumented immigrants coming in or try and chase down the ones that are already here. And I'm like, no, the default assumption should be if somebody wants to come here and live here and work here, that's a positive. I mean, we can always deal with exceptions if they come up, but the default assumption should be in favor of people who want to come here and live here.
Right. So
I never make your highlights reel by sounding reasonable. You just post clips of yourself arguing with the people who claim that they're, they're more than two genders. Well, I mean, that's just a matter of semantics.
Right. So can you name a Kamala Harris accomplishment?
Not being Trump, I think, is the main accomplishment of the Biden and Kamala Harris administrations. I don't think she is that great on things about the border, but I think that you have. I mean, the thing is that in a country where the president and vice president either do not actually make the laws directly, it's enough for a politician on your side to be the president to know that if the Republicans get a majority and try to pass something horrible, that the president will veto it, or that if the Democrats pass something that you agree with, that the president will sign it. But I think that it's hard to measure the president's accomplishments by literally what bills are passed when he or she is not she yet, but almost you're ever getting there if he or she is in office because of the gridlock in Congress. And I would say it's just enough that either of them are not saying the literally horrible things that Trump was saying all the time. Even before he got elected, he tweeted out something that 90% of white murder victims are killed by blacks. Now, that is not true. 90% of murder victims, white and black, are killed by members of the same race, just because most people are killed by someone they know, and most people have friends within their own race.
Okay.
And it's not just the fact that Trump tweeted that out, it's that not only he never apologized, but we've actually completely forgotten that he did that. Most people have no idea that this even happened, because it was an amazing that not only that he did it, but it was eclipsed by everything else he did, to the point that today we don't even talk about it. So
minus your distaste of the former President Donald Trump, what is an accomplishment that Biden has achieved?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can measure it by what the Congress passes or what the Congress proposes, because there's too much gridlock to count up the bills passed under a particular person. I mean, if he supported something like Build Black Better, but it got stymied in gridlock, you can still agree with his position. But Obama tried to get a law passed that mandated a background check, just a background check, for gun purchases after Sandy Hook. And about 90% of Democrats voted in favor of it, but 90% of Republicans voted against it, so it didn't pass. Now, does that count as Obama's failure? If you were to add up the things he did while he was in office, you couldn't count that because it didn't pass. But I'm counting that as in favor of Obama and against the Republicans that voted against it.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add?
I think.
What do you hope? Do you hope she sees your sign?
I hope so, but I'm not optimistic. I mean, this is the whole approach of trying to get a message like this out there is just throw as much. Oh, at least pan up so people can read it. Like that.
Oh yeah. No,
Okay.
I'll
you
film it.
saw
We
it
can put
already.
over. Yeah.
I think the general approach to something like this is throw as much stuff on the wall and see if it sticks. And you can never count on any particular action getting any traction. But there was stuff that I did that I had no expectation of having a big impact, and it ended up impacting far more than I expected. And there's other stuff that I spent a ton of work on that nobody cared about, like the gigantic abolish ICE riding out on Myrtle Beach Park.
Right.
I mean, that was a lot of digging and a lot of work with the drone and everything. And I mean, it got shared a couple thousand times off it, but it didn't have the like. Boom. I had visions of that. Yeah, I had visions of that like going viral nationally. But I think that there's a lot of luck involved in what goes viral.
Well, this might. If you play your cards right here, maybe this footage will go viral.
There are ways I could make it go viral, but it would be putting myself at more risk than I'm comfortable with.
That's true.
So
You don't mess with Secret Service.
No, you do not. The cops helpfully told me don't even look at the alleyway.
That's what they said?
They said like don't take steps towards the
I'm gonna book
alleyways.
it. I'm gonna book it down. Are we gonna book it down the alley? You gonna come with me?
All right. Can I have your footage if they take you down?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go for you.
Post it,
I'll go
viral.
for your phone. Well, I'll have it on my own GoPro too. I suppose I should have told you the GoPro's on.
Oh, I don't mind. Yeah, okay, let me...
But what I want to know is where the hell are all the other protesters? We are the city that kicked the police out of their own precinct and occupied the surrounding 6 blocks for a week.
It's because they like Kamala.
But I mean, well, honestly, no, you listen to what people were saying during the marches in 2020.
Yeah.
They were going, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Biden too. They don't give a fuck about you.
True.
The best thing they could say about Biden was they didn't hate him as much. Or after he got elected, I saw something that said, it's nice to be afraid of an old white man in office for all the usual reasons instead of all the additional weird and terrifying ones. But at least the far left protesters are definitely not fans of Biden. I'm more happy with Kamala and Biden than they are, but even I think that they've got a long way to go on things like him. I mean, here's the I think we need a fundamental moral reckoning in the way that we think of people's worth based on where they're born. And a lot of conservatives are very defensive about, I don't care what color your skin is, I care what side of a line you were born on. And it's like, okay, I mean, why is that really that much better? I mean, I think now we're just talking? Oh.
No, sorry. Sometimes my phone, like if it goes for too long, it won't save the video, so I always have to...
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I mean, I think that the color of your skin and the place where you're born, they're both just attributes that are assigned to you at birth.
Yeah.
And if we're not comfortable assigning a moral worth to people based on their skin color, we shouldn't do it for people based on where they're born. And now, I mean, there are practical limitations to how many people we can take in at once. But I mean, I think that we should admit as many people who passionately love the idea of living in America. We should admit as many as possible until we run up against those practical limits. We are not anywhere close to that. We have this attitude of, well, I was born here and you were not, so meh. And I mean, I think it's a moral failing. It's a logical failing. It's I don't think it's going to age very well at all. I think we're going to look back on it someday the way we now look back on the separate drinking fountains.
Yeah, cool.
That's a lot to choose from.
Bennett Haselton.
Katie Daviscourt.
That's his name.